Hello everybody, and welcome back to more Overwatch. You guys have been clamoring to see some of the 3 new characters that were added, some gameplay of them, so I decided today I'm going to bring you some Genji and just show you a game of his. They added Genji, they added Mei, and they added D.Va, which are the 3 characters. One's a tank, that's D.Va. Mei is more of a defense character, and then Genji is certainly an assaulter. They added those since BlizzCon. They announced him at BlizzCon, and they added him like that week. So I've been messing around with the other 2, but this is only about my 4th game with Genji. Don't let that fool you, though. He's kind of more my style as far as characters go. His abilities are, he has a left click that throws 3 shurikens in a straight line. His right click throws him in a fan. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then his shift is a charge that resets upon killing people. So you can like charge in, kill someone, and charge back out. The E is a deflect, and it deflects all of the projectiles back at somebody. So like say a Bastion is set up as a turret, he's just shooting at you. You can deflect that back at him and do that damage back to him, which is really, really cool. You can also deflect a lot of ultimates, such as Reaper's, Death Lotus, and also Pharah doing her Justice range from above. I don't know the name of it. All I know is what she yells when she does it. And finally, his ultimate, he pulls out his ninja sword and does a ton of melee damage, but that means you have to be pretty close and personal for that to actually work. He also has a couple little movement things, like he can double jump, and he can run up walls, kind of like Hanzo. Hanzo is, in the story, Genji's brother, so they're very similar as characters are concerned. But as like a gameplay, they're completely different, and I really like that because I'm not much of a Hanzo player, but you know what? I will play the heck out of Genji. I'm really enjoying how he plays. So basically, what you can do is you throw the 3 shurikens out. So imagine you have like a squishy person, like let's say, I don't know, any healer, any support character actually works pretty well for this. You throw the 3 shurikens twice, so you hit him 6 times total, or you just hit him with a few of each one, or a couple of each of those. And it gets him low enough that if you use your shift, your charge, you can just kill him, and it resets your charge again, and then you can charge back out, and you can maybe look for a new person. You can actually chain your charge pretty well if you're behind the lines of people, which is really easy to do considering you can like run up walls and double jump, and you can get behind people very, very easily. And you can do a really good job of just kind of taking out a back line before they can realize it. At least with an unexperienced group. Like if a group is working together, either they're using voice comms or they're actually just people who are playing together, you know, like they're friends. It makes it a little bit more difficult because they'll call out like, oh, Genji's behind us, turn around and kill him, and then you just get wrecked, right? But if you're just playing against a group of people who are like a pickup group and they're just randomly joined, chances are you're going to be able to do a lot of damage with him. I mean, it's kind of the same concept with like Bastion. Bastion is really good against new players, but once you get really experienced players who know like the inside outs of the map and how to get behind the Bastions that are set up as turrets, then he's not as good anymore. I think Genji is really, really good at pub stomping, but in like a competitive setting, he will need to either be countering a team composition, which is possible, or he will need to be, you know, have a team composition built around the fact that there's people in there. So you would do like a Reinhardt in melee, maybe a Winston, and then you would have Genji, and then the rest of them would be like a support and or some ranged character. Either way, he's really, really like a lot of fun to play for me. The only way I could describe it is that he's my jam. Like I really like Pharah because I feel like I'm skilled with her gun since I've played a lot of Quake and Unreal Tournament. That rocket launcher she has is very similar to the guns that are in those games. So to me, it just comes natural to be, you know, pretty good with Pharah, so I tend to pick her a lot. But I try to like devote an entire day to be good with somebody. Like if I'm playing Overwatch, I'll be like, okay, today I'm gonna try and play this person. If it allots, you know, like the problem is sometimes I'll get into just a random group of people and they won't have a support, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna play as support. So sometimes I can't necessarily do that all day, but you know, a lot of the time I'm able to just, you know, sit down and play Genji. So I'm going to really get good at him because I think there is something really special with this character that if you can master him, he's going to change the course of a game. Like I said, if you can get behind an enemy team and them not realize it, you could pop your ult, you could take one of them out really quickly, then you can move on by doing your jump, so you can charge forward and kill another person, and then you just keep chaining it back and forth. It kind of reminds me of like the monk in Diablo with its like 7-sided strike. That's how it feels. So you're just like jumping between a ton of targets. Except in this case, you're jumping to one, you're killing it. You're jumping to another, you're killing it. However, there is another consideration here with Genji, and that's his ninja stars are actually really accurate. It's kind of like playing as, well, any of the more of the ranged characters, you know. Actually, anybody who has just a normal firing pistol, it's kind of got the same rate of fire and same projectile speed typically. Like, oh gosh, there is like one person I'm trying to think of, but I don't remember their name. It's the support dude who's a monk. Why am I forgetting his name? Either way, it would be him that you could probably relate the projectiles to the most. They're quick, but they're not instant, right? So you do, like at really long ranges, have to lead a target. And that's important because you can actually snipe with his ninja stars. The other thing you could do with it too is if you have a couple targets or just maybe one big one, you could do the right click instead. It'll just throw them all. But if there was like 2 smaller targets next to each other and you need to kill them both and they're both low health, and I've had it happen where you do the right click and because it fans out, you actually hit both of them and you kill them, which is a really good feeling, but it's really hard to hit. So I feel like the right click has a lot more situational use than the left click does, and most people are just going to spam that left click, which is what you see most of, you know, my stuff coming from, most of my damage. However, it takes a little bit of getting used to. If you can get used to hitting that left click, you can do a really good job of sniping people. It does a lot of damage. It does do headshot damage, so if you're really good at range, you can really wreck some fools. But overall, I feel like when I'm playing him, I'm using myself as a disruptor. Either I'm getting behind the team, like I said earlier, and just kind of doing the damage, or I'm trying to get the team's attention and get them to like follow me. Like on this defense map, I don't think Genji is the best defender. I just wanted to play him, right? And the rest of our team was really solid, so I was like, okay, well, let's try out Genji on defense. He's not necessarily the best defender because you're running into the issue of survivability. Typically with defense, you want to kind of stay alive as long as possible. I mean, obviously that goes for offense as well, but it's much more prevalent with defense because usually the walk back to the fight is very, very long, so you want to try to remain alive, which is why you see a lot of the defenders with either really good range or a lot of HP, which keeps them kind of out of the middle of everything, so they stay alive longer. Now with Genji as a defender, the chances of you dying are fairly likely, so he's not the best defender, and in most situations, you're going to be kind of confronted with an entire team, and it's really hard to kind of get behind them. But man, if you could do a really good job of distracting that team on like payloads like this, and you kind of see me doing a little bit of it, where I'm able to get behind them sometimes and get their attention, then against not very good groups that, are, like I said earlier, aren't like communicating with each other, you're going to get them to chase you, and you're going to be able to kill at least one of them, if not distract the rest of them so they can't attack you to begin with. It's really, really good. Genji's a lot of fun. If you guys get your hands on the game, either through one of the beta weekends that have been happening, with the recent one that just happened this last weekend, and the first one that they did. If you get your hands on the game, I would suggest playing Genji. He's a lot of fun, but don't jump on him right away. He's definitely not a new player friendly character. That is for sure. Kind of get used to the game, get used to the maps, and once you do that, you'll be able to really wreak havoc with him, especially if they change him at all during the beta and either increase or change the way his damage is done. With that being said, though, I hope you guys enjoyed the footage in the background. I've tried my best to do as good or as well as I could, and we shall see you guys next time.